Hello and welcome to the channel. In today's video, I have really got to pot up my green stalk. It's been maybe a week or two. It's been sitting in the garage, in the box. If you have not seen my unboxing video, I'll attach that so you can watch that. But today, I have got to get this green stalk in the garden. The plants can no longer wait. So, let's get started. Behind me on the table, I pulled all of my herbs from around the garden, from in the greenhouse, and I have herbs on this black shelving unit over here. Those are all going to go, well, no. Everything but anything related to peppermint is going to go in the green stalk, and the green stalk is going to sit right here. I am also going to be going out into the garden and picking up a few pots that have some edible flowers like violas, and those are going to go in the green stalk as well. So what I have in front of me, let me show you, is my green stalk. The tiers, they're on the floor, on the ground. I've opened up my Open Me instructional packet. It comes with a little thank you for purchasing. It came with some jalapeno pepper seeds. They really blessed me. I really needed these. So I'm excited about these. This was in the box. Again, this was packed by Regan. Thank you, Regan. But it comes with a little instructional leaflet that talks about what you can grow in your green stalk. Now, I have the original 5-tier, so there's a lot of things that you can grow in the original 5-tier. I hope you all can see this. I'm very shocked and amazed to see that you can grow cabbage, cantaloupe, of course, coleus, but coleus can get very large. I had a pot 2 years ago that was massive. Watermelon struck me by surprise. Squash struck me by surprise. Sweet potatoes struck me by surprise. Potatoes, period. The potatoes struck me by surprise. And of course, a pepper. I like to try to overwinter my pepper, so I don't know about putting a pepper in here, but I'm really surprised at what they say can grow in the original 5-tier green stalk. And of course, I don't have the leaf. I have the original, but if you happen to have the leaf, or you're thinking about it, these are all the things that they say can be grown in a leaf green stalk. And if you're not quite sure what the leaf is just a smaller planting pocket, as you can see here, compared to the original. So if you need to, pause the video, take a picture, and come right back. So it talks about the assembly. It talks about stacking, the proper way to stack, watering, and then it talks about also how the watering system works. So it's important to read this leaflet before you go ahead on and start with your green stalk. Now, did I read it all of it? I'm going to be honest. I just looked at the pictures, but I did watch a lot of videos, so I think I have the gist of it. So we're going to put this away. What they recommend is that you pot up your tiers where you pretty much want your green stalk to be. So I'm going to be doing that. I have my soil behind me, so I'll be opening up my bags and mixing up that soil in the way that I want my soil to be mixed up. They say it's best to put potting soil. I only have what I have. We're going to see whether or not it can be used. I did watch another video. That lady did use the same soil that I actually have. So we'll see how this works. But if I see any large pieces like sticks, twigs, rocks, or anything like that, those will be taken out. So let's get started with me putting together my base for my green stalk. Here is my green stalk base. I'm just going to set it here for just a moment. And these are the wheels. I got the wheel kit in the box with the spinner base. I got the spinner base that has the wheel kit. So the wheels come 3 locking, 3 non-locking. And what you do is you stagger your wheel. So you don't have all the locking all on one side. So I have 3 locking and 3 non-locking. And you have to stagger. You place your wheels in these sections right here, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Nope, it says here, down here. I was wrong. Place your wheels down here. Okay, so I am going to start by placing my wheels. And they're supposed to just pop in. So let's hope nothing breaks, because I am not the... Oh, there we go. I am not the most delicate of people. I'm trying to just set it in here. I hope you guys can see. This one is wanting to be difficult. Let's see. Come on, you can do it. There we go. So every other wheel, I am placing a locking and a non-locking, just like so. And again, I hope you all can see. Come on, you can do it. There we go. And last one. There we go. Relatively simple. And that is the spinner base. So on the ground it goes. Now we need to get these filled with soil. This is my soil and mulch area. When I pick up soil or mulch, it rests right here up until my shed is completed, or even after. I may just leave it here, but for right now, this is my 32-gallon pot that I rest my garbage bucket in, along with my bag of coconut coir that I have rehydrated. I have in here just 2 used bags of soil that I had from maybe last year or so. They're the 2 cubic feet ones, they're the large ones. I use it to cover up any soil I may have in here. My shovel, my baby shovel. It has rained, so it is wet. I can see there are worms inside, which is lovely, excuse me. So I'm going to take these bags and lay them off to the side. And what I'm going to do, hope you all can see, let me show you what soil looks like. You probably, let me move you guys out the way, sorry about that. You probably cannot see, I'm sorry about my camera, y'all. You probably can't see the worms, but there's one right there. He's nice and purple. So that's one of my composting worms. Let me see if I can zoom you guys in. Let's take a look. Can you guys see that? Right there. If I move my finger out of the way, that's my composting worm. On my soil pile, I have my cow manure and compost. It's supposed to be a 555. It's the less expensive version of cow manure compost. I got it because it was less expensive. In all honesty, it seems like it's nothing more than bags of flower and vegetable garden soil were $2 a bag when they were on sale. So I got a few bags because I figured I would need them. I got them not knowing I was going to purchase a Greenstalk, so I'm hoping I have enough to go around. It's really very simple. I don't think I've ever shown you all how I do this, but I might have. I can't remember. I have over 600 videos. I noticed that today. So I'm not quite sure of everything that I've shown you all. So I'm opening the bag and I'm just going to dump it in. And this is a 1 cubic foot bag. I'm just going to dump it in here like so. And it's dry. It is going to need to be rehydrated. It's very dry. It has lots of wood chip in it, which is what they do not recommend. But this is what I have. So this is what I'm going to use. And I'm hoping that it is not going to be much of an issue. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to try to alleviate any possible issues that I could have because of the wood chip. The reason why they don't want you to use this kind of potting soil is because they don't want your soil to be compacted. There is a greater possibility of compaction when you have, I guess, wood chip. I can't say that I 100% agree with that, but it is possible. It may be something I'm just not paying attention to, only because I use wood chip a lot in my garden. And wood chip, when it breaks down, it creates the most beautiful soil-like humus. So now what I'm going to also do with this is that cow manure. Now this bag is a lot heavier than I need to be picking up, so I'm going to do the best I can. So hold on just a minute, guys. Let me walk over here and get the bag. Wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad. And I'm just going to show you all. Can you all see that? That looks like nothing but sand. So I'm going to put some in here, not the whole bag. The whole point of this for me is to stretch this soil by trying to increase its volume size by using these additional additives. And again, I'm not going to place all of this in here. I have 5 tiers and they all need to have a little bit of this in there. So that's that. So I'm going to move this out of the way. Next, I'm going to place some coconut coir, and I had that behind me. And this bag is heavy too, my goodness. Okay, so let me kind of mix this a little bit because it was still kind of condensed in there just a tiny bit. And I'm going to try and dump this in here. Uh-oh. There we go. Let me dump some in here. This is what gardening looks like for me, y'all. Oh my goodness. There we go. There we go. That might not be enough, but we shall see. Now, last but not least, I went into my garage and I spooned out, or actually I used an old jug of some kind. I think it might have been, I don't know, something. I can't remember. I reuse things all the time. I buy my perlite and my vermiculite in large bags. And this was a 4 cubic foot bag that I got. And this was the perlite. And I've mixed in some vermiculite in here because I want this to be loose, well draining. So I need to shake this up a little bit, mix it up because it wasn't mixed it up some. I'm going to pour some into this container. Now, I have to remind you that if you're working with perlite and vermiculite, please be mindful that it is a very dry mixture and it can get into your lungs and you don't want that. So be very careful with breathing this stuff in. Okay. Now, let's take the shovel and let's see about mixing this up. What do you guys think? I feel as if I have thoroughly mixed this up. I have added a good amount of coconut coir. I have tried to break up any clumps that I have seen of the compost. And I have added the perlite and vermiculite, but that compost had a significant amount of sand in it. So I think this should be pretty well free draining. Tell me what you think. This is how I make my soil when I'm not using my own compost. I don't have a lot of compost already pre-made in my compost area. I have very little of that compost in there. I am going to go and see if I have enough to maybe put just a tiny bit in each tier. So let's go. If you're not familiar with my channel, this is my compost area right over here. Hope that wasn't too fast. This first bay is compost that is in the making. The second bay is compost that is completed. And the last 2 are leaf mold compost. So let's take a look in the second bay and see what I have going on in there. All right, let's take a look. It is very bright out here, so I don't know if you all can see anything, but there we are. There's only a tiny bit at the bottom, and I do have compost worms in here as well. It is not fully broken down, so it would still be breaking down inside of my tiers. So what I can do is I can add the soil mixture that I have just mixed up in the bottom. I can put this in the middle, and then I can top it off with soil from either the original pots that I'm going to be adding or the new soil that I've mixed up. So it's going to be a mixed bag, but this is all I have left that's already made. You should never start any planting project with dry soil. So what I did was I put roughly 1.5 gallons of water into the mixture that I just put together, the soil mixture. And I put it in my gray garbage bucket that you see off to the side. Now, these tiers, even empty, are weighty. They are a little weighty. So I am going to just put some soil in here, trying not to get soil everywhere because I'm limited on my soil. And I really do not want to have to go and buy any more because the soil is no longer on sale. And I want to say it's like $3 a bag, but that's besides the point. So I am going to place just a couple of shovelfuls of soil in here like this. And I am going to go to my compost bin and find a pot and put some of that compost in there. And I'm going to put some of my homemade compost right in here. So let me go do that. Down in front of the Greenstalk, there's a black bucket. And I'll show you the black bucket. This is a heaping of my compost that came out of my compost bin. It does indeed have worms in it. It is not fully broken down. Now, I don't believe this is recommended, but I want to feed everything that's going in these tiers. I want them to be successful, and I'm not trying to purchase a whole bunch of store-bought fertilizers, this and that and the other. But this is what I have, and this is what I am using. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill that over with some of the store-bought, and I don't need to put any additional fertilizer in here because the bags already stated it had fertilizer already in it. So this is what I'm going to be doing for all 5 of these tiers. I'm not going to take you all along real time for all the tiers. I'm going to speed this up, but I wanted to show you first real time what this is looking like. So now that I have my soil, my compost, my soil, I'm going to fill this the rest of the way with soil, and I already know that there are worms in here, so I'm really hoping that's not going to be a problem, but we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. So let me fill this up, because you have to fill this up all the way to this line right here. It has to be completely full. So I've got a ways to go, so I'll be right back. I am almost finished. I have 1 tier. Sorry about that jiggling. 1 tier left to go. And I want to show you that soil mixture, that 1 cubic feet, plus a little bit of the compost, the coconut coir, filled up 3 and almost a half tiers of my Greenstalk. So if you were wondering how much soil you need, I've got about 3.5. And I know you're going, but it's not full. No, it's not. And I'll show you why in just a moment. I have planted up my tiers well, I have potted up my tiers. Hope you all can see I'm not going too fast. As far as I want to pot them up with the soil mixture that I have mixed up. And the reason why that is I think that sometimes people forget, or maybe they're just thinking that they only have small plants to pot up. They've got small 2-inch or 3-inch pots. Well, I have pots like the ones over there, and I am going to be taking those out of the garden, and those are full of soil. So guess what's going into these? The soil from the pots that I'm going to be potting up into here. So let me take this down so we can start potting this up. It's very hot out here today, y'all. I look a mess. But what I'm going to do is this is going to be primarily an herb container. I will have edible flowers. I will have some alliums. And I'm not quite sure what, I'm going to have some celery. I've got some celery down there that I'm growing. And I think there's some chervil over there as well. And so I have some herbs on the stand that did not grow. So I'll be sowing seeds for those. So this is going to be a mishmash of things. Now, what I've learned by looking, listening, and reading is that the lower tiers are more than likely going to be a little wetter than the top tiers. So if you're going to use something like rosemary in your Greenstalk, those don't like wet feet. They're very particular about their growing medium. So I'm going to, but they can get pretty big. So this is like a catch-22. You should put your bigger plants on the bottom so they don't shed out anything on the top. But in this case, I am going to put some rosemary at the top. I'm also going to, because I think I've got 5 rosemary babies in here, I'm going to place rosemary maybe throughout each tier to kind of see how it responds. I really don't want to put it on the bottom tier. I don't want it to die. It has taken me so long to grow rosemary, but this is an experiment. And before I get started, I know my soil mixture is not what's recommended. Sorry about that, flies. I know putting compost, not recommended. But this is an experiment. I want to see how far I can take this. What can it actually do outside of what it's manufactured for? Because like you, I am a family woman, a work woman, and I have all kinds of hobbies in the garden and outside. And sometimes we have restrictions. Some we put on ourselves, some that are put upon us by others. And a lot of times, right now, finances can be a restriction. Having a Greenstalk is an investment. It is regularly, I want to say, over $200 because I gave the link to a neighbor just yesterday. She's interested in gardening, but she doesn't want to really delve into it like I have. My entire back garden is a food forest. She's not there yet. So I talked to her about the Greenstalk. I talked to her about what she could grow in the Greenstalk, what I learned about growing in the Greenstalk, not from personal experience yet. And we were talking about canning. She would love for me to teach her how to can. So I say all that to say that sometimes you have to start with where you are. And if all you have is the type of garden and vegetable soil that I have, that's what I'm going to use. I have compost that I make. That's what I'm going to use. I'm a vermicomposter. I have worms all throughout probably every container in my garden, to include my compost and my soil mixture bucket that you all saw just a bit ago. And so there are worms in each and every tier of this Greenstalk. Now, not really recommended. I haven't heard anybody talk about that. They talk about putting worm castings, but I'm a vermicomposter. And that means I have worms that get into my garden because I am taking my worm castings out. And sometimes there are baby worms, sometimes there are eggs. And with that, that means there are going to be worms in wherever I put those worm castings. So what I'm going to do right now, that I have the bottom tier on the spinner base right now, because I am going to be moving this out of the way, but I did pull down a few of the pots. They're at my feet, and I'm going to be loading these up because several of them do have some baby plants in them, and I'm going to figure out how I want to do that. So I'm going to walk you guys uh, through this with me. Now I'm looking because I've got some celery under here. And again, I've been watching, listening, learning from other content creators. And Lisa from Gardening with Lisa, her sister has a green stalk the same color as mine. And sorry for that flies, y'all. And Lisa has been growing celery from seed for, I want to say, 2 years now, maybe longer, but I just realized it uh, last year and this year. And so I started growing, or tried to start growing celery from seed, and I've been relatively successful. My celery is very small, but I think it's because of where it is and what it's in. So I'm going to move it from where it is right now, and I will be using the container that I have down here for something else, because I'm not taking this particular container out of the garden. So let me move this celery and let's get started planting up these green stalks. But before I go and get onto that, if you buy a green stalk, I would suggest, and it's just me. You don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to take my suggestion. Experiment. You never know what you come up with. So let's get planted. I hope you all can see. This is my celery. Don't ask me what kind of celery it is. I have 4 different varieties of celery, and I don't know. I believe this is the white celery because I planted white and pink, and these all look white to me. So it looks like the pink didn't survive. Oh well, such is life. Over here, if you can see, this is chervil. I'm excited to see. It looks like it's only one chervil baby. So I only have one chervil that came up. So what I'm going to attempt to do, I've got some really tiny celery in here. Little tiny one here. This one's bigger. This is the largest. And it looks like I've got maybe one tiny one right there. And that's all the herbs that grew in this pot. I will be, as I mentioned, re-sowing my herbs, but they won't be in this container. What I might do is scrape the top layer of soil just in case I've got some rogue seeds that have decided not to germinate, that want to pop up at some other time, and place them in the green stalk in their own little pocket, and then reseed that pocket to see if I get any of this. Don't know. But I'm going to take this celery out of here and put it in the green stalk. Now, what I can say is I'm definitely going to have to put some more soil in this one, this bottom tier, because I want to keep the soil in this container. So let me get my bucket and put some more soil in the bottom tier of this green stalk. I've placed a little bit more soil in my pockets. Now, the reason why I didn't fill this all the way up is I don't want to have to fight soil as I'm planting up my pockets. And you have to remember when you're planting your pockets that you're going to have another tier, and there's only going to be so much of your pocket showing. So you don't want to plant any further than where my hand is. This is your planting space. So you want to plant it here, and if you can, angle it to where it's growing out of your pocket, not straight up or leaning back. If you can get it all the way straight, that's great. But if you can't, lean it towards the edge of your pocket, because you got to get your next tier on here, and you don't want to damage your plants by doing this. A lot of people say add your soil, plant it up, and that's the way they do it. But for me, I would rather do it this way. But you do you. So I am going to take my hori hori, and I'm going to dig out one of my celery plants, and I'm hoping and I'm not going to damage it, because I really would hate to damage this plant. It has taken me so long to grow it, and I don't want to damage it. So I've got it. It is beautiful. And this is what I mean by laying it and leaning it towards the edge of your growing tier. Now, a lot of people, they plant their entire tier with one thing, and some people, they stagger what they're planting. In all honesty, I'm just kind of winging it here, folks. I'm winging it. I have not looked up what I should and shouldn't put in here. And I know I should have done that, but I just have a lot of stuff that I'm trying to fill this with. Now this, I believe, are chives. I'm not, yeah, I believe these are chives. They have been doing quite poorly in this pot. So I am going to dig these out and place some chives in here. And I had a lot of die off. I don't believe that there are any more chive seeds in here that are going to germinate. But what I am going to do is I am going to dump this soil into this green stalk. And that's why I left room. Now, this looks to be 2 chive plants. So I'm going to place it, move this over here, right here. And I hope you guys can see. And I do apologize by saying you guys, but I hope you all can see. I'm placing that right there. Now, depending on what you're planting in these pockets, you can plant 1 and or 2 of those plants. Now, I do know by experience, chives can get really big, and so can celery. So I'm only putting, this looks to be like 1 celery plant, and that's 2 chives. I want this to be full, and so I'm hoping that's what's going to happen there. So that's the chives. I'm going to set this off to the side, and I am looking for something else. I think this is bee balm, and I'm hesitant in putting this in here because any and everything that's in the mint family, it has the takeover spirit, and I don't want anything in here that's going to have the takeover spirit. So I think I'm going to place this in this top growing planter here, this upright planter that my sister gave me. I think I'm going to place the bee balm and the lemon balm in with the lemon bergamot. Then again, I think this is a bergamot. You know what? I don't know, but it has a leaf like it's in a mint family, and I don't want any type of mint relative in here because, like I said, that has the takeover spirit, and we're not gonna do that. So I have some marshmallow that's behind me, and let's see. I'm gonna have to get up and get that because it does not seem to want to come out of this pot. So hold that thought, y'all. All right, here is some marshmallow that I have grown, and everything you see here, I've grown from seed. I'm sure you all have figured that out yet, but if I have not said it, I've grown this from seed. This is looking quite worse for the wear. It has seen better days. I've moved it twice, so that's why it's looking so awful. It was getting full sun from behind the black greenhouse, and I moved it to the table over here on the patio because I knew I wanted to pot it up, and it is just, it's feeling a little sad. Look at it, looking a little sad. So I'm going to clean this up, and I'm going to pot it up in this pocket right there. And this is marshmallow. It looks like I have a few plants in here, more than one. That's exciting. Very exciting. I need somewhere to dump this mulch. So let me dump this mulch and get it out of the way. That way I can see exactly what I'm working with. In my experience from growing marshmallow a few years ago, marshmallow can get really tall. So that's one of the reasons why this is going on the bottom. And I'm just loosening up the soil from around the edge of the pot. I don't know what these roots look like, so I don't want to damage them. So I really want marshmallow in my life. It's a beautiful flowering plant. If you've never seen marshmallow, I recommend that you all Google what it looks like. So let me turn this out over here. Matter of fact, I'm going to actually turn it out into the cubby where it's gonna live its life. Hopefully it'll like it here. I'm just gonna move some of this soil back because there's a significant amount of soil in here, and it looks like there's a good amount of root in here as well. So let's see if I can get this out without damaging it. I hope you all can see. There we go. A lot of roots in there. I'm just gonna pour that out and place that off to the side. Look at that. This looks like it might have the takeover spirit. Look at all these roots. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I am going to take this and move some of this over. And this is why I did not put all of the soil that's recommended into this planter, because in doing so, you don't have room for your plants. You're trying to jam something in there, and there is no room for that. So I'm just going to move away some of that soil, because what I had in there was still a little bit too much. And then put that root ball in there, just like that, and lean this baby outward as I'm trying to clean out any of the debris, taking away the wood chip. Don't want that. There we go. Just trying to clean it up without damaging anything. And it appears it has 4 stalks. There we go. That one seems to be stuck on that plant, so I'm not going to mess with it too much. So now I'm going to take this and move this back over. And I am going to cover this plant just a little bit because it's leaning and it doesn't seem all that stable. It seems like it needs a little support. So we're going to do that. And I think I just dropped that on that little bitty leaf. Let's see if I can. Yeah, I did. Let's try and push this back just a tiny bit. Get some of that soil around in front. Just like so. And push it down. I'm going to get that stick out of there. We don't want too many sticks if we can help it. There we go. There we go. And we're going to push that towards the front just a little, trying to uncover that little bitty leaf down there. We don't want him to rot off and die. We want him to grow nice and tall. There we go. Okay, I am going to have to cut off these crispy little leaves because they look terrible. But that's that for now. And I will adjust the soil as I continue to pot this up. So let me pot this up, and I'm going to place my marshmallow makeshift tag right here so I can remember what it is. And I'm going to keep potting this up, and I'll be right back.
It's a new day, yeah, so shine bright, smile right. It's a new day, yeah, so shine bright, smile right. Don't be sad, don't you cry, just let go of your
Okay, I have tried not to compress this too much. You don't want to compress the soil to where it's just so compact that it begins to not be able to retain water, and it becomes hard. You don't want that. So now that I have this one potted up, this is my first here. And this took a minute because I'm trying to figure it out. I'm going to put my water reservoir. Now this has holes in it. Turn it over to be easier for you to see. It has holes. You want to put, each one of these holes need to be in one of these pockets. So facing one of the pockets, just like so. And I'm going to have to put some more soil in here because this is not touching the soil. It has to touch the soil. So I need to add more soil. So and you want to make sure that this doesn't get dirt in it like I just did. Good gracious. Because that will clog up your Greenstalk if you have dirt in it. I was watching another young lady's Greenstalk video, and she literally had to take her Greenstalk apart because her watering trays got soil in them. So I'm just going to take that, put that back down there, and I'm going to add more soil to this so that it is as full as it needs to be. So while I do that, I will be back. I did not compact anything. Gotta get that little bit of soil out of there from my glove. I placed it on the tier firmly. Now I'm going to get one of the tiers from over there, place it on the top, and figure out what else I'm going to pot up in this planter, because I just don't know. I have so many things that I don't know where to start. But before I do that, I'm going to clean up this marshmallow and take off these pieces that are pretty worse for the wear, so that it's not focusing on these leaves, that it will focus on making some new ones and go from there. And I just put dirt in my watering trays on the ground. Good grief. I can't win for losing. So let me get the next few tiers going, and I'll pot it up, and I'll be back when it's all done. This is an extremely messy process. The sun has gone down, and I have planted all but the 5th top tier. I have underestimated my ability to plant plants, and I have more plants than I have Greenstalk space. So I need to figure out what else to put in here that's not going to have the takeover spirit. But I put celery, I put sweet marjoram, I put those chives or onions or whatever those were. I put the basil in here, and that is pretty much, oh, and the chervil and the chamomile and the marshmallow. I will be cutting back the sweet marjoram, and I will be harvesting that one little bitty chamomile, and then I'll probably, no, it has some more buds coming up because I was going to cut that back, but I am going to definitely harvest this and take it in the house and dehydrate it. I have watered each and every pocket, because just like when you're planting up any other planter, you need to water your plants you just planted up. As you can see, they look a little worse for the wear. I am probably going to have to dig him out a little bit more and re-pot him by pushing him up some, because he looks a little bit buried. That's the purple basil or the opal basil. And so that's pretty much it for me tonight, everybody. I want to thank you all for joining me in the garden this evening, planting up my Greenstalk. The only thing I need to do is fill this tier with much more soil, put the water reservoir in the lid, and then this is done. But for right now, I'm just going to push it in the corner and leave it because I am losing light. So let me show you. I need to power wash the patio, as you can see. What I had down there has accumulated some dirt, but I'll do that another day. This is my Greenstalk. The top tier is not completed, it's not filled, and it's not planted, but this is the Greenstalk. And I have some pots down here on the ground that have some up potted herbs in them. I figured out what this is. That's lemon balm. That's rosemary. And the one I put up under the raised bed was collecting water from me watering the raised bed. I haven't figured that out yet, but I still have all of this over here, plus what's on the table that I need to figure out what to do with. Right now, everything on the table, none of that has germinated, and none of what's over here has germinated. So I need to determine what I'd like to do. Do I want to reseed it and try again, or if I want to get rid of course, the buckets that are broken, like the one in the second shelf, and just recycle the soil and start over maybe in the fall. because I already have a lot going on in this little corner. So thank you for joining me in the garden this evening. I hope you enjoyed me potting up the green stalk. If you did, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, share the video, and if you have not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you either in my kitchen or my food forest real soon. Thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.